December 1942, the Atlantic Ocean. Britain is losing a war no one can see. Thousands of merchant ships have been sunk by German U-boats. Food, ammunition, fuel, all sinking to the bottom of the sea. There is no more steel to build new ships, and then, in the midst of despair, one man had a strange idea. If you can't build ships out of steel, build them out of ice. In 1942, the Battle of the Atlantic reached its peak. Nazi U-boats roamed freely, sinking over 700 ships in just a few months. Allied aircraft couldn't escort convoys far enough because of their limited range. The gap in the middle of the ocean, a place no plane could reach, became the graveyard of thousands of sailors. If that gap couldn't be closed, Britain might starve before the Germans even landed. Geoffrey Pike, an eccentric scientist and secret advisor to the British Admiralty. He was known for his impossible ideas, motorized snow vehicles, ice tanks, and now an aircraft carrier made of ice. He wrote in a memo to Churchill, "Ice doesn't sink. Ice repairs itself when damaged, and most importantly, ice is everywhere." Churchill, who loved bold ideas, wrote a single word in the margin, "Yes." But there was a problem. Ordinary ice was too brittle. Engineer Max Perutz, an Austrian refugee scientist, was assigned to find a solution. He mixed ice with wood pulp, 14% cellulose, creating a new material, picrete, named after Pike. The test, a bullet fired into a block of picrete. It didn't shatter. It even made the bullet bounce off. Perutz wrote, "This is no longer ice, this is frozen concrete." The plan was insane, but possible. 600 meters long, 90 meters wide, weighing over 2 million tons, large enough to carry 150 bombers. The ship would be built from picrete blocks over 10 meters thick, kept frozen by an internal refrigeration system. The project was given a code name, Habakkuk, taken from a verse in the Bible. "Write the vision and make it plain, so that he may run who reads it." To prove it could work, they built an 18-meter prototype on Patricia Lake, Canada. In the winter of 1943, Perutz and his team lived in the freezing cold, cutting ice, pouring water, running generators. After 3 months, the ice ship actually floated. It didn't even melt when hit with a blowtorch. The world had just witnessed the first aircraft carrier made of ice and sawdust. Churchill was thrilled. He ordered, "Build me a fleet of ice." The Americans joined in, led by engineer Lord Mountbatten. To impress General Eisenhower, Mountbatten staged a demonstration. He placed 2 blocks, one of regular ice, one of picrete. He shot the first. It shattered. He shot the second. The bullet ricocheted, almost hitting an American general in the leg. The project officially received $10 million in funding, worth hundreds of millions today. Then the engineers found the flaw. To stay solid, the ship would need a continuous refrigeration system running across its entire length. The structure required copper pipes, compressors, massive generators, all materials already in critical shortage. Worse, the warm waters of the Atlantic could destroy the ship in days. They calculated each ship would need 8,000 tons of copper, 40,000 tons of steel, and suddenly it wasn't cheap anymore. The ship of ice had become a ship of gold. With materials and manpower scarce, priorities shifted to conventional carriers. By 1944, the war at sea had changed. Radar and long-range aircraft now covered the Atlantic Gap. Habakkuk became obsolete before it was ever completed. Patricia Lake thawed, and with it, the dream of the ice carrier melted away. In the summer of 1946, engineers returned to the lake. They found rusted metal, twisted copper pipes, the remains of the Habakkuk prototype. 60 years later, Canadian researchers rediscovered the site, confirming the legend was true. Pikrit still existed, strong, hard, and strange, a testament to desperation and ingenuity in war. The Habakkuk project failed, but it opened a new concept of immaterial warfare, using anything, even nature itself, as a weapon, combining science, despair, and imagination. Peretz later won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, while Pike ended his life in silence. But their idea lived on, in the spirit that says, "When nothing is possible, invent the impossible." Beneath the frozen lake of Canada, fragments of cold steel remain, remnants of a mad dream, yet profoundly human. Project Habakkuk never set sail, but it proved one thing, that even in war, ice can burn.